What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Homegrown Career Mode, and welcome to Season 2. Yes, of course, today we are starting a brand new season with our Saints at St Mary's. Coming back to the season finale, which I uploaded yesterday. If you missed it, I encourage you to go back and watch it. We had our FA Cup final against Spurs, and spoilers if you are going to go back and watch it, sadly we did lose the game by a goal to nil. So end the season in defeat, and to start the new season off, we're kicking off by officially ending last season by giving free contracts to a few players that had their contracts ending come the end of the season. Those were Alfie Jones, just because we need a cover in the centre-back role right now, and also in Ludulu and Obafemi as well. Now, I don't know how much potential those three guys have got, probably not, but again, it's good for depth in those positions where we're not got much right now anyway. And we also gave free pro deals to our youth players in our youth squad as well. Blondell, Robertson, King. I've said so many times, Thomas Blondell, one of the hottest prospects in the academy right now. Alfie King, a 5'10" centre-back, comes out of the academy with some decent potential, exciting prospect. Already 84 strength and 87 aggression on a 17-year-old. You got to love that. And Callum Roberts has potential to be special as well. So two really good prospects there. 3-star, medium-low work rates, right mid the only list position, and some okay base stats there. And also, I was quite disappointed by Blondell because, as you can see, he didn't have potential special. It was just exciting prospects, and I say just. That's still, of course, extremely high overall between 86 and 90. But either way, I was certain, absolutely certain, this guy was going to come out of the academy with potential to be special and perhaps the highest potential player out of the academy. But exciting prospects, not bad. High medium work rates, right mid, centre mid, was it left mid as well? Listed positions too, so still one to watch for the future. Still really good potential, but again, a little bit disappointed about that. A little bit disappointed. But that was it for the end of the season. We just gave those contracts. We let everyone else go. And as you can see, as we kick off the brand new season with Southampton, nice little transition there. You can see the transfer market is open, and I'm very excited for Season 2 because, as we discussed in the season finale yesterday, it's going to be such a crazy season because this year, of course, don't forget, due to the homegrown rulings, as we'll discuss in a moment, we can only have 2 players that weren't trained out of the academy. Everyone else must be developed by the Southampton Academy. But the 3 teams that got promoted from the Championship last season were Aston Villa, Leeds United, and Middlesbrough to the Premier League this season. So the 3 new promoted sides shown for you there. And as for objectives overview this season, you can see our objectives on and off the pitch with the Saints. This is really interesting, but of course, reaching the FA Cup final meant that this season we'll be playing European football in the Europa League. The board wants us to reach the final in our first season in Europe in the series, reaching the final. And I often find this as well in career mode saves I do when I'm using an English team. It seems like every time we're in the Europa League, we're always supposed to either reach the final or the semi-finals. The board have really high aspirations in the Europa League when you manage an English team, and no change there. Reach the final, and that's what the board are asking for us in our first season in Europe in this series. But so we also had a pre-season tournament invite as per usual. Always pick the one with the most prize money and hope for the best. This one I believe is based in the Netherlands, and it's always the European International Cup as well. Don't want the most prize money. And we see confirmation there of 3 players leaving the club on free transfers, as we know. Charlie Austin joining Bordeaux, Alex McCarthy joining Bournemouth, and Stephen Davis, of course, is off to Parma as well. So obviously we knew those 3 players were leaving to clubs, and the other players just got released and go into the free agents pool. But to start a new season off, the transfer budget, that's always the most important thing when you start a new season. How much is in our bank this year? We've got £50.8 million. I say £58 million there. £50.8 million in our budget for Season 2. It's a decent budget, but not that much more than last season. We started with £39 million, so not a great deal. And to refresh your memory again there, here are the series rules for Season 2. As you guys already know, we have to have a maximum of 2 players trained in the nation for this, our second season. Everyone else must be trained at the academy. And of course, don't forget, we still got to sell some foreign players that are still here. Yannick Vestergaard, who we couldn't ship last season, he's still here. He'll need to be sold this year. And also 3 players returning from loans. Those are Sofiane Boufal, Carrillo, and who's the other one? Jordi Classy, who returned as well. Those 4 players are foreign. Of course, we need to sell those players. And I should say they're players that weren't trained at the academy. We've got foreign players that were trained at the academy. They're players that weren't trained in the nation or trained in the academy, and thus they'll need to be sold. You take a look at the squad. You can see the squad we are starting with for Season 2. Again, it's not any better than Season 1, and this is why I'm really going to enjoy our second season in this homegrown career. Because a lot of times when you do a career mode, your transition from Season 1 to Season 2 is normally just so good. It's like right? You have so many players arriving on pre-contracts, you have a lot of money to work with, you splash the cash, you bring in big new names. For this, our second season, we can't really do that. We've got no players arriving on free transfers. You see our squad here, it's pretty much the exact same as last year, minus some first-team players, like McCarthy, like Davis, like Austin, like Ings, who's returned to Liverpool after his loan spell as well. Our squad this year is actually a little bit worse than last year. So season 2 is probably going to be as difficult, if not more difficult than season 1. So I'm really excited for the challenge. Of course, the confirmation there are the 4 players we need to sell. And right now, the current homegrown players at the club, you can see the trained in nation players. There are 4 players here: Bertrand, Redmond, Gunn, and Jack Rose. And of course, as we know, 2 of those players will have to be sold, as we can only use 2 this season. And also as well, you can take a look at the list of players that have got their contract coming in the year: Rose, Valerie, Slattery, Sims, Classy, and Johnson, and also Andrew Sermon as well. So obviously, a couple of those players will be leaving this season regardless. And you see the 4 foreign players got the transfer list there. And for the players who are eligible to sign this season, well, the noteworthy players, I should say, we've only got 3 left now. Last season, of course, we brought in Chamberlain, Walcott, Lallana, Shaw, Steidlin, Dyer, and Sermon. Now we've only got Gareth Bale, the headline guy, Callum Chambers, and Jason McCarthy. There's only 3 players left to sign for Southampton. And Bale, I'm not entirely sure we'll get in season 2. I hope we can. It's going to be a stretch, but you never know. Callum Chambers, of course, he's the guy we'll definitely go after. And sadly, Jason McCarthy, I'd love to bring back. We can't sign him, as Wycombe Wanderers don't want to let him leave, as he's too important there at Adams Park. But regardless, this is a really interesting email I got here. Now, I've seen some of you guys tweet me and say, have you ever seen this before, where the board come to you, and due to your performance last season, the budget savings, they'll give you more money. Now, according to this email, we were supposed to get an extra £8.5 million injected into the club from the board of directors, and it says it will give you a total transfer budget of £51.9 million, but I went into the finance section, as you can see, that money did not appear in our bank account. So the directors clearly didn't decide to invest in the end. The chief exec said they were going to do so, and then they thought, nah, we'll just buy a few more Rolls Royces. They decided not to give us the money, and as you can see, the £8 million there in profit was due to the Charlie Austin sale, and our bank budget is the same as it was at the start of the season. So that money never appeared in our balance. I was like, what? Seriously? Where's the money, chairman? Seriously. But regardless, we don't mind too much. We've got enough money now as it is anyway. And again, I don't think we'll be able to sign Gareth Bale in season 2 regardless. We can afford to sign Callum Chambers without the extra £8 million. It's a bit annoying that they just flat out lied to us and then decide to buy a couple of new houses instead. But either way, we don't need the money. But it's an interesting feature, because again, I haven't seen that before in FIFA. And again, I've had a few people tweet me the screenshots of that in their career mode saves as well, and it's the first time I've noticed it, and it's just a shame it didn't work out for us. But regardless, start the window off, we had some bids here, one for Bertrand, one for Schneider, and one for Jordy Classy. Of course, Classy we were going to sell regardless. We get 8.25 million from Besiktas for him, as of course we can't use him this year as a foreign player, not trained at the academy. We had a loan deal there for Jeremy Martin from Porto, of course we rejected, and also Monaco putting a bid for Sofiane Boufal as well. Watford legend, of course, for those who watched my save back in FIFA 16. We asked for £8 million, 18 million pounds, I should say, and Monaco said yes. And as for the Bertrand deal, you see, I did accept that after a bit of negotiation. Of course, Bertrand is one of the 4 players here that are trained in the nation, and we can only, of course, have 2 players. So half of those players need to be sold: Bertrand, Gunn, Rose, or Redmond. And of course, I discussed it last season, the end of last season. I discussed it during the campaign as well. I tried to sort of act as though I didn't know who we were going to keep this season. Let's be honest here, we all knew who we were going to keep this season: Nathan Redmond and Angus Gunn. They were our 2 best players not trained at the academy. We were trained in the nation last season. They were the 2 that were going to stay. So Bertrand and Jack Rose, of course, are going to leave. And as you'll see in today's episode, we try and ship them both out. And also Yannick Vestergaard. Yannick the Giant Vestergaard, West Bromwich Albion legend. He goes to Roma. Interesting move here to the Stadio Olimpico in Italy for, was it £18.25 million? I think it was. Yes, it was indeed. And he's off to Italy to apply his aerial presence and see how he gets on. And also before Carrillo, Torino wanted to sign him, one of my former career mode teams there. Got some nostalgia in today's episode. Carrillo off to Torino, as you can see. We asked for £9 million, and the Italian said, yeah, that's totally fine, as Vestergaard and Carrillo are off to the Serie A. So Classy got sold then for £8.25 million. So one of those 4 foreign players are not trained at the academy gone straight away. So good to see. Of course, he was out on loan last season, and now he's gone permanently. And we also took on PSV in the second game of our pre-season tournament group. And of course, just just like every single season, we simulate all of our preseason games unless we reach the final. This one finished as a draw. And as you'll see as well, we saw 2 more sales. Sofiane Boufal and Ryan Bertrand leaving the club. Boufal to Monaco and Bertrand to Real Sociedad. And with those 3 sales, Boufal, Bertrand and Classy, in the first 11 days of the window, we'd already raised over £35 million in transfer fees. Of course, not all the money goes into your budget. The board always skim a little bit off the top, but still great to get some money straight away. Big fees as well for Boufal and Bertrand for our first 3 sales there. And also Jack Rose got a couple of bids, one from Tigre, and I believe one came in as well from San Jose Earthquakes. And also Correa got sold for £9 million to Torino, and Vestergaard went for £18.25 million. So we raised a hell of a lot of cash in our first window with Southampton, our first window of the season with Southampton. And as you can see with the transactions here, when you include the Charlie Austin sale as well, we raised over £70 million in sales straight away. £75 million in earnings and £72 million are in transfer sales in our first window, as we really got to work early in getting all of those foreign players out of the club that weren't training in the academy. All 4 of those are gone now. Bertrand's gone as well, and now the last player to go is Jack Rose, and then we'll have just the 2 players we can have in our trained in nation criteria. So it's amazing how quickly we've done this business in the window. It's great to get it done straight away, and that's always my plan in the transfer window. Before I make signings, do the sales first, raise the cash, then look to reinvest it afterwards, as opposed to clustering it all up and doing it all at one time. I think it's better to do it that way, and I think it's easier to address your finances and, I should say, assess your finances and find out where the money should be reinvested and what areas your squad need improving. But for the semi-final of the preseason tournament, we took on Hoffenheim, German side, and as you can see, we're beaten by 3-0 to get through to the final of the European International Cup, where we will take on Ajax. And I thought it was a really interesting final as well to take on Ajax too, because of course these 2 clubs are noteworthy for academy graduates. And of course, with this series being the homegrown career mode, all about academy players, I thought that was really fitting, having that be the final. 2 players that are well known for producing really good academy graduates, and seeing which one is going to triumph in the battle in the final, which, funny enough, was going to be at the Johan Cruyff Arena in the Netherlands in Amsterdam. And it's a great touch by Ajax as well to rename the arena, the Amsterdam Arena, the Johan Cruyff Arena as well. Obviously a pioneer of Dutch football, and just a really nice touch really after his passing. But regardless, travelling to Amsterdam to take on Ajax. I've always wanted to visit Amsterdam in real life. Seems like a beautiful city, absolutely beautiful city. My brother went there for his stag do actually a few years ago, and it seems amazing. And it's safe to say he doesn't remember much of it because he wasn't sober for much of it. But regardless, I know for sure it must have been a wonderful experience, and I'd love to visit there one day. But anyway, enough about that. Let's move on to the game, as we will take on Ajax in the final. And funnily enough, the first goal would be scored in the final by Ajax, and it was a former Southampton player that gave them the lead. Dusan Tadic, the Serbian, striking first and giving Ajax the lead with a wonderful goal. He's got a wonderful left foot, Tadic. I remember a few years ago when Southampton faced Sunderland in the Premier League and they thrashed them like 7-0 or something, and Tadic was just a joy to watch in that game. He was picking a pass effortlessly. His vision was fantastic. He was such a great player to watch, Tadic, when he was in the Premier League, and he made it 1-0 there. He's got a great left foot, Tadic, and already Ajax went in front for a former Southampton player. But 17 minutes in, we got the equalising goal, and what a surprise, the guy that got it was Theo Walcott. He tailed off towards the end of the season, Walcott, in terms of his goal-to-game ratio. However, we know how good this guy was when we signed him from Everton in the January transfer window, and we know his best asset, running in behind the back line, using his pace, and he's got a good finish on him as well, as he made it 1-1. Sadly, we couldn't hold on to the game being tied heading into the break. Ajax restored their lead right before half-time with David Neres making it 2-1, a deep cross to the far post, and a good header there past Angus Gunn into the back of the net, who, to end the season off, wasn't that impressive for us this season. I am thinking, with Andrial coming out of the academy, would potentially be special, a new goalkeeper for us. I might make him our starting number 1 this year at just 17 years old. But Ajax were in front. We were playing really well though. It was a very balanced game this one. Both teams were evenly matched. Sam Gallagher hit the post there from a header as Ajax still had the lead. It was a really even contest, but Ajax was just a bit too clinical for us, and their build-up play was sensational. Really good movement, and again, we discussed him earlier, Dusan Tadic with that wonderful left foot absolutely destroyed us in this game. 100% passing, and the 2 goals he scored, nothing that Gunn could have done about either of them. Just wonderful strikes from outside the area. look at the clean strike there. Curls through the legs of Kirk into the bottom corner, and Gunn had no chance. So final score, Ajax 3, Southampton 1. Sadly, we don't retain the European International Cup after winning the pre-season last year. We do have the defeat, and it's obviously a shame to lose the final and to start off with a loss, even though it doesn't matter too much in the pre-season. But we lost the FA Cup final. We now lose the European International Cup. It's Daily Blind trophy, and that's 2 final heartbreaks in 2 games. So let's try and pick ourselves up into the new season on the back of all that pain. But that was today's episode of the Homegrown Career Mode, guys. A big thank you for watching the season opener. Really hope you have enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy today's episode, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you for the next episode, which will begin the new Premier League season with our first game home to newly promoted Aston Villa, and we'll try and make some signings as well. Have a great day, guys. Much love, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.